Respect is not a commodity you can hunt, nor is it a trophy you can demand from the world. You don't earn it by speaking louder, by being the nice guy, or by exhausting yourself trying to prove your worth to people who aren't even paying attention. Real respect, the kind that lasts, is a silent shift in the room. It's the moment someone realizes you are not a person to be trifled with. And this doesn't happen because you've threatened them. It happens because your presence speaks a language of its own, a language of absolute certainty. The Machiavellian reality, Niccolò Machiavelli understood a fundamental truth about human nature that most people are simply too soft to admit. He knew that people do not respect kindness when it comes without boundaries. To the average person, kindness without a limit looks like an invitation. They will test it, they will push it, and eventually, they will exploit it. This is why you can give someone your last ounce of energy, your most precious time, and your undivided attention, only for them to treat you like a doormat. They don't do this because they are inherently evil. They do it because they are human. In the high-stakes game of life and strategy, you must realize that people don't just react to kindness, they react to power. They don't just respond to generosity, they respond to self-control. And let's be clear, power is not aggression. Aggression is loud, desperate, and weak. True power is certainty. It is knowing exactly where your boundaries are and protecting them with your life, even if it makes the people around you uncomfortable. It means you stop chasing validation. It means you stop fearing the act of walking away from anything and anyone that no longer serves your vision. The power of detachment, this subtle internal shift, is enough to rewrite every dynamic in your life. You don't need to shout to be heard, and you certainly don't need to perform to be respected. But there is a price. To be respected, you must act like a person who is not afraid to lose the people who don't value you. This is where most people lose the game. They cling. They over-explain their motives. They live in a constant state of fear of being misunderstood. In that moment of desperation, their power vanishes. The very second you let go of the need for approval, you win. When you stop chasing the connection, you gain the power to choose it. You stop putting up with disrespect and you start eliminating it. You do it silently, calmly, and completely. This is the gold standard of Machiavellian insight. He didn't teach people how to be cruel, he taught them clarity. He taught strategy, the ability to read the room, the discipline to hold yourself back, and the wisdom to know when to strike and when to remain perfectly still. That is power. That is respect. And it only begins the moment you stop being good just to be liked. The authority of silence. There is a reason why the quietest person in a room usually carries the most weight. It's not about being loud, it's about being intentional. When you stop reacting to every stimulus, when you stop rushing to defend yourself or explain your every move, people naturally gravitate toward you. Their curiosity begins to grow. They wonder, why didn't he flinch? Why didn't he take the bait on that insult? Why does he seem so untouched? That calm, unbothered energy is intimidating. Not because you're trying to scare them, but because self-control is a rare currency in a world of chaos. In a world driven by insecurity, the person who doesn't move is the one who commands the room. People will always test your boundaries. They want to see what you'll tolerate. They want to know how far they can push you before you break. Again, it's not personal, it's instinctive. But the moment they realize they cannot shake you, the game changes. The disrespect stops, not because you demanded it, but because they realize there are consequences. The currency of attention. These consequences don't have to be dramatic or aggressive. Often the most devastating consequence is silence, distance, indifference. People don't fear losing you when you're always available. They fear losing you when they realize your standards are set in stone and you never compromise them for the sake of peace. When you don't need anyone, and when you treat access to your time and energy like a restricted privilege, you become the person people think twice about crossing. Machiavelli wasn't writing for tyrants. He was writing for the thinkers. He was writing for those who are tired of being stepped on, tired of being overlooked, and tired of shrinking themselves just to avoid conflict. He knew that true strength isn't found in revenge. It's found in self-mastery, in balance, and in knowing exactly who you are without needing a single person to validate it. Redefining the standard. When you embrace this, when you stop chasing and start operating from a place of self-respect, you'll notice a strange phenomenon. People will start to treat you with more care. It's not because you changed them, it's because you changed the way you allow them to treat you. It's a paradox. The people who get disrespected the most are usually the ones who bend over backward to avoid it. The harder you try to be loved by everyone, the more people feel they can get away with anything. In their subconscious, they think, if he ignores this, what else will he let me do? The Machiavellian shift is simple. Replace the priority of being liked with the priority of self-mastery. When you enter a room, you don't oversmile, you don't fidget, and you don't try to impress. You are simply there, present, calm, and grounded in your own energy. That kind of energy speaks louder than any clever comeback or forced dominance. It's not about having power over others. It's about mastering the power over yourself. The art of the silent boundary. The secret lies in silent boundaries. You don't need to scream, "Don't talk to me like that." You simply raise an eyebrow and stay silent. You don't need to explain why someone's behavior is unacceptable. You simply withdraw your access. It is subtle, it is elegant, and it hits harder than any argument. You'll start to notice things. The people who make constant jokes at your expense, they stop when you stop laughing. The people who try to guilt trip you into doing things, they back off the moment you say, "That doesn't work for me," without providing a story or an excuse. Only a stillness backed by self-worth remains. Machiavelli wasn't advocating for cruelty for the sake of ego. He was advocating for calculated strength. Don't let your emotions write checks that your reputation has to cash. The real art of not being disrespected isn't about pushing people away. It's about commanding a silent certainty, so absolute that no one dares to cross the line, even if you haven't said a word about where that line is. That is the energy that makes people wonder, what happens if I cross him? That curiosity is usually enough to keep them respectful. The origin of respect. Remember this, respect starts with you. It starts with what you tolerate, what you stay silent about, and what kind of energy you allow into your space. Real power isn't something you announce by shouting. It's something you carry without explanation. It's found in the decisions you aren't afraid to make and the distance you are willing to give. When someone tests your boundary, don't give them an emotional reaction, just take a mental note. And when the time is right, act accordingly. Not for revenge, but in alignment with your self-respect. Let's put this into practice. Suppose someone throws a passive-aggressive comment your way. Most people will laugh nervously or try to be sarcastic back. But the powerful move? Calmness, eye contact, no reaction. That silence creates a vacuum of discomfort. And in that discomfort, the other person is forced to come face to face with their own behavior. The price of over-explaining. When you constantly explain yourself, defend your values, or over-apologize, you are unconsciously lowering your social value. You are signaling that you aren't sure of yourself. And when people feel that uncertainty, they treat you accordingly. They drift away from respect and move toward contempt. Contrast that with someone who moves with intention. Someone who doesn't speak unless there is something valuable to say. Someone who doesn't share everything just to be liked, and someone who is not afraid of the silence. Silence, when used correctly, is pure power. That person doesn't need to chase respect, they embody it. Stop participating in the nonsense. Start treating your attention like a currency. Stop replying to messages that come with weird energy. Stop explaining yourself to people who have already made up their minds. Stop chasing closure from people who will never give it to you. People will feel this shift. They will realize your approval is no longer up for grabs, and that is exactly when they will start to respect you. Consistency is key. Machiavelli would say that being feared isn't about being a villain, it's about being understood. People need to know exactly what you will and will not tolerate, not because you told them, but because you showed them consistently. That is what makes people think twice before trying to walk over you. What makes people take you seriously? It's not the volume of your voice or the size of your title. It's how you react when your reputation is tested. Not when things are calm, but when there is chaos. That is when people measure the caliber of your soul. People don't respect perfection, they respect clarity. They respect the person who knows what they are, who doesn't flinch when challenged, and who doesn't beg for peace in environments that run on chaos. Final blueprint for self-mastery. Setting a boundary is only half the battle. You must protect it, every single time, especially when it's inconvenient. The moment you bend your standards just to keep the peace, you are teaching the world that you don't actually believe in them, and people will never respect what you won't protect. Stop trying to fix how people see you. Fix how you see yourself. When you truly begin to respect your own time, your own energy, and your own presence, the world has no choice but to follow suit. You'll stop tolerating fake friendships. You'll stop entertaining people who only remember your value when it's convenient for them. You'll stop treating your boundaries like a negotiation. Real presence is silent, rooted, and resolute. It speaks louder than any argument. It tells the world, I don't chase, I don't beg, and I don't repeat myself. People who disrespect you once are usually just checking to see if they can do it again. When they see they can't, they either change or they disappear. Either way, you win. You don't need to be the loudest person in the room to be the most powerful. You just need to stop allowing disrespect to be the background noise of your life. When your presence becomes a standard rather than a compromise, everything changes. They will never look at you the same way again.